What's up, guys? Welcome back to FishOfHex. My name is Travis. As you guys can see, I am back from my mini vacation from YouTube. And no, I didn't go anywhere special. I didn't do anything outside of Pennsylvania, but I did step completely away from YouTube and the majority of my social media accounts and just didn't do anything. I didn't even clean the glass in my main display for almost 3 weeks. So it's just, it was a nice break, and in this video, we're going to talk about kind of a general update on how the systems are here in the fish room, some projects, talk about what I did outside of YouTube, the garden, the bike, all sorts of stuff like that. Just a general update, and then we're going to really start diving into content tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week, and hopefully the rest of the month. I do have a list of things I want to get out and get your guys' opinion on a couple other things. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and first talk about the 300 gallon. Now, yes, there is a frag tank, and no, I have not created a video on that yet. And yes, that video will be out either this week or next week. It just depends on how it kind of falls in on the grand theme of getting back into things. But the 300 was just pretty much on autopilot for the entire vacation. Of course, I monitored my alkalinity once per week. Usually on Sunday, I'll come in and test with the Hannah checker, see where my alkalinity is, and make any adjustments. Now, I did not top off the calcium reactor. I didn't really mess with any kind of carbon. I didn't even do a water change, which is kind of on my list of things to do this week. There's a ton of detritus in this tank. And like I said, I didn't even clean the glass. Now, what I did do is stop dosing nitrates and phosphates. I'm kind of done with my experiment I talked about in another video where I was testing different levels of nitrates and phosphates, the NO3 and the PO4, the stuff that I sell on my website. I wanted to test at what levels were algae starting to grow, cyanobacteria, all that stuff I covered in that video. And now that I'm done with that, I'm just letting the tank kind of come back to normal. And it was probably not a good idea to add a frag tank, a fresh new frag tank, to this system while kind of doing that whole process, because when I added those 4 HD primes to that 4-foot deep blue frag tank, algae was like, yo, we're out competing the refugium, so we're going to have fun in this new tank. So finally got that under control, and thankfully so, because it was making it very difficult to sell my acros while I was going through that whole transition. Now, I will say there were 2 things that I had to do maintenance-wise to the 300 because I really didn't have any choice, and that was clean the return pump and then clean the wane check valve. I had to clean the return pump because I noticed that my gallons per hour was not as good as it originally was when I set the system up, showing it on the apex, as well as the flow in the tank just wasn't enough coming out of there, indicating that the pump needed to be cleaned. And since I have never cleaned it since I started this system, about 1.5 years, or yeah, almost 2 years ago. I'll have to look and see. I think November's 2 years. Anyway, I didn't ever clean the pump, so it needed to be cleaned. It had this kind of slimy film on it. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I went ahead and took the return pump out, cleaned that, and then also cleaned the check valve because it wasn't shutting all the way when the flow turned off, and a lot of stuff was siphoning back into the sump. Thankfully, this Geo sump is pretty big, so I don't really have to worry about it overflowing. But if they were, the nozzles were really far down, I probably would have had an issue if I didn't catch it early on. So those are really the only 2 things that I did to the tank over the last 3 weeks. Now, there are 2 things about this tank that I'm not liking at the moment. The first thing is the fish and how they frag the corals for me. Every single day, I have to go into this tank and pull chunks of coral off the bottom glass. The fish are swimming around, they're bumping in the colonies, breaking them off. Sometimes they're huge pieces of coral, which just really messes with how I want the tank to grow. But of course, it's nature. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. And the second part of that is that the fish have been getting hurt by the coral in the tank, especially the bird's nest. The Panopy bird's nest in particular has been doing a ton of damage to the fish. And one of those black chromuses, actually, his eye was all sorts of cut up, swollen, and just nasty. He ran into the bird's nest, and that's really the only one I can think of, and it cut his eye, and it cut the side of his body. All the tangs in here have cuts on them from the coral, which is something that I haven't experienced before. I don't necessarily think it's the acros that are doing it. I really think it's those bird's nests. So that might be something I'll have to consider when building the new tank, and that is probably not adding that Panopy bird's nest because, yeah, it's just not good, especially in the location where they're coming around and they're swimming directly into the colony. Now, other than those two things, I really don't have any complaints about the system. The coloration could always be better in the tank. I am lacking that boron, which was showing up on my ICP test. I have not purchased any of that. I don't know if I will. I have increased the refuel dosing that I've done. Also incorporated the iodine again, since I was lacking that on my most recent ICP test. And I'm just kind of making those adjustments based on those tests. Now, because the coloration is lacking, I can really only determine that to be part of the reduction in nutrients. Because I'm no longer adding that nitrates and phosphates, the tank just has to go through the whole process and get back to normal, at least before I started dosing those elements. Now, do I regret going through that process? Absolutely not. I really enjoyed learning at what extent and what levels I can stay at before the tank starts showing negative side effects. Now, should I have used my main display, that is basically my channel, to do so? Probably not, but what's the point of having something like this if you can't really have fun with it, right? All right, so let's go ahead and move over to the frag tank, give you guys a quick update. Now, I do have a little bit of algae in the system, not a ton, and it's only because I didn't do any water changes. I didn't change the filter socks. I didn't really do a lot to the system while I was gone. I didn't even clean the skimmer cup. That's kind of how much to what extent I stepped away from the entire situation. Now, I had somebody here helping out, getting orders out, because of course those coming in daily, and those shipments can't just wait 3 weeks for me to come back. But I didn't expect that person to take care of the tanks. It just wasn't part of the job description. So now that I'm back, I'm just kind of getting into the whole process. I have to clean more filter socks. I got to get all that done, and you guys will see those videos this week. And overall, the system is okay. The corals seem to be happy. Again, a little bit of algae, but that's not a big deal. It's not like there's a crazy amount that's causing any issues. It just means I have elevated nutrients that have to be taken care of via water changes, and also taking care of that carbon and getting all that stuff nice and fresh and good for the tank. Now, other than that, I haven't put any money into coral orders. I'm basically just taking care of everything that I currently have in the system, getting that up on the website and selling it off before I start buying more coral. Because you guys know that I put an order in probably every 2 weeks to a wholesale company. They ship all that stuff in, I frag it out, heal it up for a couple weeks, and then get it up on the website. And that's been my process for the last year or so. And I just didn't do any of that this month, so I'm a little bit behind on my stock. But again, there's so much in these 4 low boys that just needs to be put up on the site, and that's what I'm going to focus on over the next week or two. All right, now that we have the tank updates out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about what I did outside of YouTube over the last several weeks. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I post pictures of the ZX6R. I've been working on that. I painted the fairings. Basically, it was laid down. The fairings were destroyed, so I ordered in some new ones, painted them matte black, put them on the bike. It has to be inspected. Kind of just enjoying the bike until it dies. That's pretty much what I'm going to do, and then I will replace the engine. But right now, it's running pretty decent. I had a good time on it. I definitely got to get new tires. I'm thinking of going with the Q3 Plus. I do have the Q3s on there now. I'm thinking about going with the Plus. It is about $100 difference in price, and I don't really know much of a difference other than the fact that I'm going to get a little bit more tread out of them. So, gonna have fun on the bike. That's what I did. Got out on the twisties, had a good time, and just kind of enjoyed that. Now, also on Instagram, I posted pictures of the garden on the back deck. I went a different route this year, and I will do a separate video if you guys want to see that. I do have a separate channel that I was going to upload the hunting and garden videos to. I might just keep it here on this channel. If you like it, watch it. If you don't, then move on to another video that I have. I mean, I don't know how I feel about having 2 channels yet, and I'll probably just keep everything here nice and organized. But anyway, I went ahead and did different containers on the back deck this year, which have a reservoir on the bottom, which holds about 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water. And then the dirt sits on top of this like plastic frame. And then, of course, the water that is needed by the roots and the dirt will be automatically kind of sucked up into it. And then all you really have to do is top off the reservoir. Now, because of the heat starting to come, I actually added my irrigation system to those reservoirs. And it just fills them up early in the morning, like 6 a.m. And then at 6 p.m. it does it again. And basically just keeps the reservoirs topped off for those. And then I just have to go out and manually water the other containers that I have on the deck and on the railing there. But I will say I planted all this stuff, I think it was May 6th, and it's just crazy how much it's grown in such a short period of time. I just added some new cherry tomatoes. They're Gardener's Delight. I just added those about a week ago, and they've taken off, and they're doing really, really well. So This garden is looking a lot better than last year. It's my second time doing something on the deck. I'd much rather do it in the ground and on the dirt there, but it's just not an option where I am now. And this is a great way to keep critters out of it and all sorts of animals that like to eat your shit while you're not paying attention. So, so far, really like the garden, and it looks like we'll be eating zucchini in another week or so. All right, so another thing that I like to do outside of YouTube is go trout fishing. I'm not really into any other fish other than trout, maybe because I haven't experienced all the fish there is to have. I've never even been in the ocean, which is hard to believe. People are like, "You've never been in the ocean?" I'm like, "I've been all over the world, but I've never even stepped a foot in the ocean," which is kind of crazy. So that's on my bucket list of things to do. And so, you know, saltwater fishing is something that I've never done, which I hope to do in the future. But for now, going out to the local rivers and lakes and catching trout and making you know, dinner out of them is something that I really enjoy doing. And so I picked up the license I don't know, a week or so before I started taking my vacation, so I did quite a bit of fishing and had a good time doing that. So that's pretty much it for the personal things outside of YouTube. Now, I do have 4 boys. One of them plays baseball, so we went to his games, had a good time doing all that. I got sunburned like crazy. Now, I hate the sun. Ever since Afghanistan, when I got fried being in that Humvee, I was a gunner, so I was always exposed to the sun. I got nailed, and I hated it. I hate it so much, and when I go outside, I get roasted every single time. So I got a heck of a lot of sun over the last 3 weeks. So now I'm just cooped up in the basement, and I'm not going outside until I get back to my normal pale self, which I enjoy being. And other than that, you know, going to the gym, doing usual things, and just enjoying not having the responsibilities of YouTube. Now, I did miss you guys. I missed the interaction. I miss creating content for the most part. And yeah, so I'm back, and hopefully I can get a video out every single day this week. That is my goal. I mean, we all have goals, and I'm hoping that I can get content out to you guys every single day. All right, so I have one more thing I want to talk about, and then we'll wrap this video up for today. Now, I want your guys' opinion on live streams. You guys have been asking me, comment section, email, Instagram, hey, can you do a Q&A live stream or bring somebody on and do a topic talk, something like that. Now, you guys know my opinion on live streams. I'm not a big fan of it. When I made that video a little while back, the community, that's all you saw. You guys know that I have a certain thing about live streams. If they're productive, by all means, I love live streams like that. But if you're just bullshitting for an hour, picking your nose, that stuff is just pointless. So I don't like that type of live stream. So I want to know what you guys think. Should I bring somebody on and do like a podcast style live stream, or even do Q&As outside of a live stream and then upload them later on like I did with Mike Lemming? This was a couple years ago. Those seem to be pretty successful. I just want to know what you guys think. If you want that type of stuff, I have no problem putting the time in and the effort and coordinating with other people to make that happen. But I want to let you guys know it's not going to be a bullshit session. It's not going to have people coming in talking about their dog shitting on the rug. I mean, I'm not interested in that stuff. It's going to be specific people with a specific topic, and we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to be done. Yeah, I want to know what you guys think, and that's about it. I don't think I have anything else I want to talk about. And so if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more. And if you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down, because I don't mind those. I think I got 100 dislikes on my last video, which was interesting. That just shows that at least 100 people don't have a sense of humor. So keep on moving. And yeah, either way, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.